One summer evening, fishing at a quiet lake deep in the forests of Hot Springs, Arkansas, was my idea of bliss. The lake was isolated from roads and other houses, providing me with perfect privacy. However, the serenity and solitude of that night turned into elements of terror. On a warm summer evening, I had caught several trout and placed them in a cooler. As the sky transitioned from orange to purple, and the beauty of the setting sun captivated me, a strange sound suddenly echoed from the edge of the lake. Turning around, I saw a shadowy figure, tipping a large barrel and pouring something into the lake. It was a dark red liquid, almost like blood. Shock and unease washed over me as I shouted, "What are you doing?" The person glanced at me briefly before disappearing into the forest. As a nature lover, witnessing such an act was unbearable. But my intuition told me to leave the area immediately. I quickly paddled my kayak back to shore and began packing up my gear. As I was about to place the kayak in its usual spot, I heard footsteps behind me. The sound of something snapping, as if someone was approaching, filled the air. Fear gripped me, and I couldn't even call out. I covered the kayak, grabbed my gear and cooler, and hurried through the forest towards home. By the time I reached home, my heart was still racing. I stored my gear in the shed and locked the door. Just as I was starting to feel a bit of relief, a knock came at the front door, reigniting my fear. Unable to approach the door, I heard a man's voice from the window, "Hello. I think you saw me at the lake earlier." I'd like to explain. I had no intention of opening the door, and I shouted back, "Leave, or I'll call the police." Silence followed. I closed and locked all the windows and turned on the air conditioner. That night, I reported the incident to the police and the Environmental Protection Agency. I managed to fall asleep with some sense of security. But the nightmare returned in the middle of the night. Around 2 a.m., the sound of breaking glass downstairs woke me up. I jumped out of bed, grabbed my Glock, and found a place to hide. The sound of footsteps ascending the stairs filled me with dread. The footsteps approached my bedroom door. The doorknob slowly turned, and the door opened. A silhouette entered the room. "Get on the ground," I shouted, aiming my gun. He raised his hands, holding a small knife. Calmly, he said, "I'm leaving," and ran down the stairs. I heard him exit the front door and immediately locked it, calling 911. The living room window was shattered, with glass scattered on the floor. I stood guard by the broken window until the police arrived. Shaking with fear, I described the man and the incident at the lake to the officers. But the man was not found, nor was the barrel. The next morning, my friend Dale came to help repair the window and stayed with me for a few days. I was convinced that the barrel contained evidence of a horrific crime, and that the man was trying to conceal it. Feeling that he had chased me with the intent to kill, I trusted my intuition, which ultimately saved my life. By sharing this terrifying story, I hope to convey the importance of trusting one's instincts and taking action when danger is sensed. Intuition can save lives.